Welcome to the Elite Money Market Update. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, and I am here with CEO of the Elite Retirement Group, Patrick Marcel. Patrick, always good to see you. How are you doing today?
Doing well, doing well.
Oh, good. I love the tie. I don't know if we can get a close-up of that, but tell us about it.
Well, it's an amazing tie because, it's got the Millennial Falcon on it.
Love it.
So, yeah, we just keep that right there.
Right?
I'm an original trilogy guy myself.
Yes,
so.
I am as well. I love some Star Wars.
Right.
Well, interestingly enough, we're talking about the future. We're talking about retirement planning. And, it can be so challenging in today's economic environment to plan for retirement and to do so without falling into some of the common mistakes that people can so easily make. So tell us a little bit about what are some of the mistakes that people are currently making in 2023 when it comes to their retirement?
I think probably one of the number one biggest things that are the mistake that's being made is people are ignoring their financial situation. They're just keeping the envelopes unopened. I've had a lot of my clients say, I don't open the envelopes because I don't want to see. But you can't ignore it. You have to look at what opportunities might lie in there. So I think that's a big one. Another one that I still see quite a bit, and we talked about it on a different show, was longevity. Just how long are we going to live, and planning appropriately for that length of retirement. I mean, when you think about it, you work for 35, 40 years, saving for retirement, and your retirement could be as long or very close. Somebody who retires in their 50s, what is living to 90 nowadays? I mean, it can happen pretty reasonably. Does it mean everybody will? No, but we should probably plan for that. It's probably responsible to plan for those things.
Well, and to piggyback off that, with longevity comes not only needing to make sure that your money is going to last as long as you live, but we're dealing with inflation at record highs right now. So talk to us about how that impacts when you're planning and how much income you're going to need in retirement.
I think one of the big things is we need to keep in mind that inflation swings like a pendulum. So right now we're way up here where it's high. For a long time it was really quite low. So it's going to swing back and forth, but over a long period of time we're still going to be around that 3 or 4%. This inflation that we're having right now, actually, it was one of the things I was really vehement about early on when it came to this inflation. Was I said, there's no way when you see a job income going up like it is, wages just rising so fast, this is all of a sudden going to go backwards. Because who's going to take a pay cut?
Right.
Nobody's going to take a pay cut. So we knew this was probably going to be pretty sticky. The problem is that I love, I would say I love everything I do. The government sometimes can get in the way a little bit, and the Fed is not necessarily our friend. So, I called him the Grinch maybe recently or some things like that if you watch my weekly videos. But, and that's what we have to contend with now, is that trying to get inflation under control, it becomes a two-headed spear. So not only is your money not going as far as it used to, but now your money in the market isn't doing very well either because the Fed is trying to get that under control.
Yes.
Now, yes, they have to do what they have to do. Totally get that. Totally understand that. So I'm a little bit selfish though, because I want my clients to make money, right? I want their assets to grow. I want them to do well. So I want the Fed to be easy on monetary policy. Inflation hopefully reins itself back in. That's what I'd like to see, but that's not the reality.
Right.
So really we're facing two different obstacles right now. We're facing the rate increases to bring the interest rate or to bring inflation down, but we're also really facing a bad, stock market because of that.
Right.
Tough.
Well, and the other point to make with that is when inflation was at the, long-term historical average of around 3% per year, the cost of money was doubling every 24 years. So, it used to be if you needed 100 grand, let's say, to live off of for a year in retirement, well, that means 24 years from now, you'd need 200 grand. But with inflation being higher right now, that rate of doubling has shortened significantly.
Well, and what it can really do too is if you just retired, you might be sitting at home going, well, maybe I have to go back to work. I don't want to go back to work, but I need to find something to do because we can't just dwindle down our savings, our assets, because inflation has gone up so much. But it's a big deal, and it really does impact. And we have to plan for what's there today.
Right.
We have to plan for how inflation is impacting our money, and basically we're losing that earning power. Now, sometimes people say, well, Patrick, at least I'm getting a lot more at the bank. Well, okay, you're getting 4% on your CD, but inflation's 5.5%, 6.5%, right? So inflation's way higher. You're still going backwards. It's still not a great great deal for you. So we have to find other ways that we can combat this kind of thing.
For sure. I've heard that strategy is actually causing people to go broke safely. Right? They think their money's safe in the bank, but unfortunately, due to inflation, you're going broke safely.
Yep. Yeah, and that's we think back to the 80s and the late 70s, and we're thinking, interest rates are so high. CDs were paying 13%. It's like, well, do you remember what inflation was back in the late 70s? It was more than 13%. You were still going backwards, even though you got safely.
Interest rates,
you're 13%. You're going broke safely, as you said. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yep. Well, I know we've talked on the show before about longevity, and obviously that plays a role and a factor. Talk to me a little bit about one of the pitfalls that people can make of overestimating their investment income that they're going to receive in retirement.
So one of the things we do when we sit down with somebody right away is we want to get an idea of where their mindset is. What are they thinking when it comes to what is a reasonable rate of return? So we have this thing called the family information sheet, and on the family information sheet, we ask them, what is a reasonable rate of return? We just want to know what you're thinking.
What you're hoping to earn, right?
Right, yeah. We just don't want to tell people this is what you'll earn, because they may be saying, well, that's not what I was told by Joe down the street. And then once we know where their thought process is at, what their earning expectations are, then what we do is we just have a discussion about it. And we talk about it. And we'll use some data and charts, and we'll say, hey, this is why we think what we think. And you're on target, or maybe you're not on target, and maybe we just dial it back. So one of my good friends from college, my almost first client, he did that family information sheet, and he wrote down 17%. And I said, Jason, I don't think you're getting 17%. I'm just telling you, I know you're a young guy, but I don't think you're getting 17%. So we just kind of talked about it. And actually what it came back to is he said, Patrick, I just don't even know what to put there.
Right.
And that's why we created the Memories and Milestones Roadmap as well, is that one of the sections in the Memories and Milestones Roadmap is that we analyze the risk that you're willing to take, and we look at how much return you can get for that risk. So we have some pretty cool tools that we use, and probably would bore everybody home if I got into all the fun stuff that I like to get into,
right?
All the technical data. But it is really just another part of the retirement roadmap to help you understand where you're at, what your expectations should be for income in retirement, where it comes from, and how we're going to develop it and how we're going to create it with the amount of risk that's appropriate for you. And one of the things we're seeing now is we're seeing people have really pulled back on the amount of risk that they're willing to take, and that really impacts things as well. So it's a really neat thing to be able to look at it. You may be sitting at home and saying, well, Patrick, maybe some of the stuff is a little over my head, or you know what, I want somebody to help me really dive into this and look deeper into where am I at? Am I taking too much risk? That's why I tell people that's what the Memories and Milestones Roadmap for is. We take all that information, we put it together for you, we go through it with you, and it's not just me putting it together, it's not just Michael or Renee or Victor. We have our team of certified financial planners and charter financial analysts that help us put this plan together for you. So we're looking at all the details, and then what I do and what Victor does and Michael and Renee is we take that more complicated information and we deliver it to you in a way that's understandable. So if you want to make sure that you're on the right track for retirement, you'd like to take advantage of the complimentary retirement roadmap, just give us a call at 1-833-856-1392. We'd be more than happy to talk to you, get to know you. Hey, worst case scenario, you can come to our office, grab a bag of popcorn, grab a cookie that is homemade. My wife and I make them.
No way.
Yep.
What kind of cookies?
Chocolate chip cookies.
Ooh, yum.
Everybody likes chocolate chip cookies. And I do make them. They are homemade. I had some people say, Patrick, you don't make them. I'm like, I do.
That's
so
awesome.
You can come in, you can enjoy that, get to know us a little bit, and at least you'll get something out of it.
I love that, Patrick. Thank you. And to our viewers at home, don't miss this opportunity to be able to set up a time to come in, meet with Patrick and his team. Again, that number for you to call is 833-856-1392. They will do the heavy lifting for you. All you've got to do is pick up the phone and call to make that appointment. We have a lot more to talk about on today's episode of the Elite Money Market Update right after this commercial break.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Welcome back to the Elite Money Market Update. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, here with CEO of the Elite Retirement Group, Patrick Marcel. Patrick, we're covering a lot of great information today, talking specifically about the common mistakes that you see folks make with retirement planning in 2023. And the next big one is forgetting to factor in healthcare costs. So can you share with us a little bit more about what you're seeing out there? What are some of the mistakes that folks are making in this realm?
Yeah, I think one of the things that we see happens quite a bit are just really people simply not understanding what that cost will be. Mm-hmm. So as part of our team, what we do for our clients is that when they come in, or somebody that we're preparing a retirement roadmap for, is we'll help them get a good idea of exactly what those costs will be based upon today's rates. Now, that can change down the road, we know that. But Victor at our office does a tremendous job of helping our clients be able to look at different plans that are available out there and help them get an idea of what that cost will be. So sometimes people will think, I'm going to get a big subsidy. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe not. Maybe you need to do something different. Maybe we need to tweak your deaccumulation strategy so that we can keep your income high, but keep your countable income when it comes to the Affordable Care Act down lower. Mm-hmm. So that's something that we do, and we do that really as just a value-added service because we want our clients to get the very best answers. We don't represent any one individual company when it comes to the Affordable Care Act. We're just looking at what's the best out there for you, what doctors, what hospitals, those sort of things. Now, when we found people retiring before 65, mm-hmm. one of the other big things there is they say, okay, well, I'm not going to go to the doctor because I have these big deductibles, co-pays, I'm not going to go. So what we did is we teamed up with a clinic called the Novia, and what they do is they are able to provide general practitioner services. So I see Dr. Singh there, and I can go in. I went in for my physical recently. Mm-hmm. It didn't cost me anything. It's a subscription-based program. Mm-hmm. We actually formed a group so we could get a discount mm-hmm. for our clients that we work with. And you can use them as much as you want. And there's no co-pays for that. Okay. There's just your monthly subscription fee. I paid for my blood draw, so my panels, and it was $30. That's all I had to pay. If I had a little accident recently, and I twisted my ankle up pretty good. Mm-hmm. Now, if I would have been not as stubborn and I would have went in for an x-ray, it would have been $200 for an x-ray. That's it. Mm-hmm. So I'm able to get these costs down, and I'm able to help our clients bridge to 65. Now, what happens when we get to 65? A lot of times people have no idea how much health insurance is going to cost when they get to 65. Mm-hmm. So what we do again is we take them through what we call our Medicare 101 to give you the three different options, the main options that you can take when you get to 65. Mm-hmm. So you can look at Medicare with a supplement. Mm-hmm. You can look at just an Advantage plan, which is separate. Or you can look at an MSA, which is a medical savings account. And we just kind of walk you through and give you some ideas on that. And then my brother, Michael, he's our resident expert when it comes to Medicare. So he sits down with our clients and he helps find a plan that's best for him. Again, same situation here as we did with Victor, is that we're really trying to just find the very best plan for you, what's going to work best for you. And we're not married to a company. And that's one thing that changed a lot for us when I left the career world working for that large insurance company. And we became fully really independent and fiduciaries, and we could really look at all the options for our clients. And sometimes it's about getting them the right parts of the plan put in place. Right. So the right health insurance, or the right part of maybe it's even life insurance, or maybe it's benefits at work. What are the right benefits for you at work? That doesn't make per se money for us, But what it does is it puts a good plan together for you, and that's what we're interested about, is how do we put everything together and put a really good plan together for you. And then my brother Michael, like I said, he's the expert on Medicare. He does a great job with it. He's also very entertaining, so you'll have a very good visit with him. So if you come with your husband, just keep in mind, Michael likes to talk about fishing sometimes, so,
okay.
you know.
Be prepared for that.
Yeah, he's really, really great at it, and he's a really special guy. I'm very, very blessed to be able to have my brother working side by side with me. Couldn't ask for anything better, really. It's just amazing. So he does a tremendous job with that. But yeah, I mean, it's just, and we really get down into the numbers and we look at what these costs are really going to be so people can plan appropriately.
Well, and what I love is, as you mentioned again, being independent and being a fiduciary, you're not limited to any one company's products or services. You're really able to sit down and see what the best options would be for the person sitting in front of you, and can really devise that plan that's going to work for their individual financial situation.
Yeah, in my experience over time, I've seen health insurance as being one of the biggest obstacles for people that want to retire prior to 65. That is their biggest concern with outliving their money, right? But then once we're able to take that off their plate, and the retirement roadmap does such a nice job of explaining in the timeline, okay, so you're going to retire. When you retire, 3 months before you retire, you're going to meet with Victor, because you're under 65, and he's going to go through the Affordable Care Act, and we're going to get that all set up for you. Now, once we do that, then we're going to have all the income set up for you, right? So now you're set till 65, and we keep on reviewing it, and we're going to walk you through and make sure that you have the best plan each year that's going to work best for you. Once you get to 3 months before 65, guess what? Then you're going to meet with Michael. Michael's going to go over the different type of plans out there. He's going to help you figure out what route is even the best route for you. Which one of the three is the best? Then once you figure that out, then he's going to delve in deeper and find the individual companies that are going to work best for you. Things are going to change. When things change, we recently had a change with one of the carriers we work with. Michael was on top of that. Calls came in, people were able to go ahead and be able to address that. But that's, again, we go back, we talk a lot about the retirement roadmap, but it is so important, it's so critical, and it's just written, and it's unique, because I'm putting Victor, all of us put our own flavor on exactly your specific situation and how we can help you do that. So, and that's why, as we talk, and I think it's very, very important that people have the opportunity, no matter where you're at, to be able to get this plan, and that's why we offer it as complimentary. If you come in and you visit with us, we put the plan together for you. At the end of the day, it's up to you what you want to do. You're the boss. You're in charge, right? So we're just going to provide you with the information, with the feedback, give you the direction, and then if you like what we do and you want us to help you more, we're there. If not, that's okay. Because again, I believe really strongly in doing good things for people out there, and it'll come back to you. So if you want to take advantage of our complimentary retirement roadmap, you can give us a call at 1-833-856-1392. Or you can go ahead and you can give us a call at 1-833-856-1392.
Wonderful. Well, Patrick, thank you again. For our viewers at home, that number is on the bottom of your screen. If you'd like, you can also take your smartphone, take it out, scan that QR code. That will also get you over to be able to set up an appointment with Patrick and his team. When we come back, we're going to be talking about one of the other areas where we see a lot of folks making mistakes when they don't even know it. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only to set up an absolutely complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan that we're giving away complimentary to the first 10 people who respond. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have by running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go, and who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review today.
Welcome back to the Elite Money Market Update. My name is Kristen Oakley, and I'm here with CEO of the Elite Retirement Group, Patrick Marcel. Patrick, we're talking today about the most common mistakes folks are making with retirement planning in 2023 and how to avoid them. And before the break, we were talking about that very important birthday, number 65, which is where Medicare comes into play. But I want to transition now and talk about birthday number 62, because I have traveled the country as a financial educator, and a lot of times people say, yay, I'm 62. That means it's time to start claiming Social Security. Why would that possibly be a mistake for a lot of folks without them even realizing it?
I think the best way I can describe it is talking about my parents and their situation. So my mom and dad worked for a manufacturing company in Wausau area, and they were laid off before 62. But see, my parents have a unique situation, and they're kind of, I could say, old school, because they both have pensions and they're relying on their Social Security. They didn't have a 401k until later on in their career at the manufacturer. So when they hit 62, right away they were like, great, I can draw Social Security, I can supplement my income, I can have more income, great, it worked well for them. And that was how I would say most of us that are retiring today, our parents did that. Right. So they had the pension and then Social Security, and it was drawn at 62. Because really, the other part is longevity, right? We may not live very long, so we want to draw early. But it can be a really big mistake, especially if you're retiring prior to 65 and we need to factor into health care. But what if we also need to, what if we have health insurance? If you have health insurance and it's provided to you until you're 65, fantastic. But now we have to think about what your brackets are looking like. And then what can happen is that if we're saying, I'm going to try to get as much income as I can early as possible, I want to have Social Security, I'm going to have some money come off my investments, right? And you're not worried about that. You just want that Social Security. Well, how fast are you going to spend down that IRA? Because a lot of people aren't thinking necessarily about long term when you get to that required minimum distribution age where the government makes you take money out of your IRA, what that may look like. Now, one of the tools I use in my retirement roadmap is I use something through a program called eMoney that does a projection, and it can show us if you don't plan properly for taking money out of an IRA or drawing Social Security too early, what it actually can mean dollar-wise down the road. So I did one of these recently for one of my clients, and you know, I wouldn't say they had a lot of money in retirement, a good amount, right? And you know, right away they're like, well, we don't have to worry about it. We're gonna draw Social Security, you know. And I said, well, maybe. Well, let's look at it. I always want to be objective. Clean slate. I don't have any predisposed, you know, ideas or anything like that that I would say, yep, I want to do it this way, or this is how we're going to do everything. So I look at it, and I dug into it, and I said, well, you know, when you get to required minimum distribution age, you see on this chart that your income goes up by $40,000 a year.
Wow.
And they're like, well, why is that? I said, because the government's making you take money out. And I said, and then over here on this page, you see what your taxes do? They go up a whole bunch. Because now you have this $40,000 of income.
Right.
And I said, but if we do something about it now, and I showed them exactly what I would do and how I would do it and how we'd slowly each year fill up their bracket and move the money out of their IRA to their Roth. And then when they get to the required minimum distribution age, all of a sudden, instead of a $40,000 distribution, it became a $15,000 distribution.
That's a huge difference.
Huge difference. And then you add it up over an expected lifetime. And I said, well, guys, if we do it this way, based upon what we know today, you're probably going to save about $250,000 in taxes over your lifetime. I said, and that's not even considering if one spouse passes significantly earlier than the other. And they were really impressed of like, I can't believe it's that big of a number. And I'm like, you know what, quite frankly, there's times I do plans and I don't know how big it's going to be either.
Right.
But we don't know until we have that plan.
Right. And you don't know what you don't know. And that's what I love is that you're able to sit down and look at all these factors, how they affect each other, because it's things that often aren't on our radar, right?
Right. Well, who's really thinking about when I'm retiring, you know, what's going to happen to me tax-wise at 73? I mean, I'm thinking about what I'm doing tomorrow.
Right.
You know,
what vacation am I finally going to take? Right.
Right. My dad's like, how much fishing can I do? You know, which was great. And that's what we do though for you, and that's why we put the plan together, is because we want to take those things off your plate, so you don't have to worry about it. And then what we're going to do is that we're going to just keep on updating you. What is our progress? What are things looking like? With the market in 2022 being low like it was, we feverishly worked with a lot of our clients to get as much IRA money over to a Roth as we possibly could, because we can take, and we don't have to sell those shares, but we can move it over here. And now all of a sudden, when that rebounds, all that rebound is tax-free. And it's really incredible. So there's just a lot of opportunities that potentially could be missed. And sometimes we just need to see the numbers. And a lot of times for folks is that when I'm working with them, they just, once they see the numbers, you can see the light bulb come on and it clicks. But they aren't thinking about that.
Right.
But that's why we do what we do. And that's why we love what we do, is because if I can take and show you something that you haven't seen before, or I can give you something that you weren't aware of, worst case scenario, you'll learn something and you're going to grow from that experience. And that's why we offer the complimentary retirement roadmap, because we think it's very important for folks to have a plan going into retirement, but have a comprehensive plan, have something that covers all the bases in your retirement. So if you want to make sure that you got the bases covered in your retirement, you can give our office a call at 1-833-856-1392. We'd love to have you come on in and visit with us. Again, we talked before about the popcorn and the homemade cookies. Hey, we make popcorn fresh every day.
Do you really?
And cookies. Yep. We have I have a little popcorn maker that we make. The girls make it in. They do a phenomenal job. I love the smell of popcorn. I could probably eat it all day.
Right.
But if you want that popcorn, give us a call, 833-856-1392.
Well, Patrick, thank you so much. And to our viewers at home, we so appreciate you watching. And again, don't miss this opportunity to have Patrick and his team of independent fiduciary financial advisors, certified financial analysts, be able to sit down and really look at your individual financial situation. As we've talked about today, there are so many mistakes that folks are often unknowingly making when it comes to their retirement planning, and we don't want you to make those same mistakes. So we encourage you to pick up the phone and call 833-856-1392. Again, that number is 833-856-1392. Schedule your time to come in and get your complimentary Memories and Milestones retirement roadmap built for you and your individual financial situation. Patrick, again, it's always such a pleasure to be with you today, and we just thank you so much for all this valuable information.
I love being here. It's great to be with you.
Well, we love being able to share this time with you and the viewers at home. So thank you again for watching. And until next time, we encourage you to be educated, be empowered, and as always, be prepared. We'll see you next week.